Hello and welcome to another session of Music Matters with Ev. And I am so pleased to have in the studio with it this morning, this afternoon, someone who I have been impressed with her singing ever since I met her many, many years ago. Welcome, Michaela Fedeczko. Did I get your name right?
Hello, Fedeczko. Yeah.
Fedeczko,
You
yay.
sure you know me?
Well, you look familiar. You look very familiar.
I mean, yeah, we haven't seen each other for a while, but to see you on a screen is odd, but it's the way it is right now, isn't it?
That's exactly so true. All right, so without any further ado, please tell us who you are.
Who am I? I don't
Yeah.
know. Well, we've known each other for a long time, haven't we? Since
Mhm.
I was at college. So back in 2000, I think it was between 2004 and 2006, I was at Access to Music, now called Access Creative, I believe. And we did I think you came and covered actually. And I always remember that session because I find it very inspiring, and I find it like really uplifting. And it's something that I kind of took from in terms of where I've gone with my music. I feel, that was quite a poignant time for me, access to music in general. I learned lots of skills and just sort of, developed ideas of where I wanted to take my own music and my own sort of performing and things like that. So I went on from there to actually teach for them, as well as setting up my own dance and vocal workshop business, doing sort of all sorts of different workshops for play schemes and for after school clubs, as well as sort of hen parties and all sorts. It was quite enjoyable. Went all over the UK doing that, but also set up Just Three, which is how we know, or how we've continued to work together for a while, which was a harmony trio. So I really enjoy harmonies. I enjoy performing, and I did just quite a lot of that really for the first perhaps 5-6 years after my time at college. I did go back and study for a year, but other than that, I was just doing anything and everything I could to gain more skill. I was learning specific, I was doing intense courses about the voice and really learning my craft, as well as joining lots of different bands, doing function work, as well as session work for different sort of producers, songwriters, that sort of thing, and any excuse to do harmonies, as you well know, and just work with lovely people. I feel like I've had such a real chance to work with lots of amazing people that have inspired me, and I have or had at that time written some of my own stuff, but just never really done anything with it, and just found myself maybe writing for other people, just little top lines, melodies, for other people, and recording backing vocals or lead vocals on songwriters stuff. And I got the chance to go, where did I go? With my performing work, I sort of went to Israel for a month. I did some work in Dubai with a kind of a big 10-piece, I think it was 10 or 14-piece band. I've been to France and did a little residency in Nice, just lots of different things really, and then continued to do a bit of teaching alongside that, just for different institutions. I'm currently teaching at BIM actually, which was a fortuitous situation in this lockdown, because I was actually just covering for somebody, and then they couldn't go back for their own reasons, and I took over part-time. So I've always been dabbling in a bit of teaching and hoping to inspire people coming up wanting to do the same thing, because it was hard really, I suppose, to find
Hold on.
a course.
Let's just break there, because you have done a lot. Wow, that is amazing. It's so good to hear that people who, like yourself, have gone and looked at music as a career, and studied, etc., have been very active within that field. That's awesome to hear. So now we need to take us up to March 2020. What happened for you?
Well, it all went crazy really, didn't it? I mean, where was I? So before that, I was doing a lot of performing work, as I've just said. And then I was actually on a gig with Ruth, who I think you also know. doing backing vocals for Eben Brown, who's the ex singer of the Stylistics. So we were up in Skegness doing a gig, and it was all very surreal actually, because it just felt there wasn't as many people there, and it was all very eerie, and we just weren't sure we should be doing it, all that sort of thing. And then literally I think 2 days later we went into lockdown, and all my performance work got cancelled. And yeah, I flipped to very quickly. BIM took up online learning very quickly. So I was covering still, and I just continued to cover online, just the 1 day a week I was doing teaching voice. But other than that, like, it was all just getting used to what we could do. And I think I just decided, I just saw that this wasn't going to change for a while, and I just reacted quite quickly by going, right, I just, I need to make sure I'm set up recording wise, because I love doing session work and recording work. So I just I set up a profile on Sound Better and just started to get some more session work that way, and contacted other people I'd worked with in the past to see if they had any projects they needed vocals for. And then I think I just started writing, really. I spent a lot of the time learning, taking the time to learn, which I love doing anyway, but it was a pause, wasn't it, where we were not so distracted, and there was there is still so much going on, and a lot of that I found quite uncomfortable. Very, like, just stuff that fed into my writing, really. I just used it to channel these feelings that were coming up and just go, right, I just want to get it out. So yeah, that's
good.
Writing an album, that's what's been happening.
That's so good. I want to talk a little bit more about that, but I want to mention that I saw you, because I've been keeping in touch with your activity. We haven't spoken for years, but I've been keeping in touch with what you've been doing and getting involved in. And I noticed on Instagram that you were part of a collective vocal ensemble, and there was a recording done, and it was very impressive, because obviously nobody was meeting anyone, but the recording was put out and broadcast, and it was very, very high production. So tell us about that.
I think you're talking about when I did, it was really random again. Like, I think a lot of people just were reaching out to people that they'd worked with, just to say, hey, I'm still here. Are you still here? Like, what's going on? Yeah, and my friend Colin, who I haven't worked with that many times, but he got in touch. I think I did some function stuff with him previously, but yeah, he's a keyboard player, and many other things, actually, really, because he just orchestrated the whole thing. And yeah, he just asked if I would like to be involved. Didn't really say much of what it was about, but then as it transpired, it was like a huge group. I can't even remember how many musicians now, from all over the UK and probably further afield, actually, to do a version of Stevie Wonder's "Don't You Worry About a Thing." And I did some backing vocals for it, actually, but it was such a fun experience to be part of. And yeah, he worked his butt off and produced such a great result, and something that we could all just enjoy, really, being part of. And loads of people that I had never met, and it was nice to kind of see us doing something together. So that's what that was about.
That was a huge testament to the power of music and the power of community within music. And regardless of what constraints are put upon us, we will continue in some way, shape, or form. That was excellent.
Exactly.
Okay, so take us up to the teaching then. You said it was fortuitous in the sense that during last year, you were able to maximize your teaching activity. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I was covering just 1 or 2 days a week, I think it was, for BIM, for a friend of mine. And then she actually moved back to Italy, and she had a little one as well. So it was all, it wasn't really going to work to go back on to online teaching with so many unknowns. So I took over, continued to the end of that academic year, and then I carried on. Basically, I've started the new year with both the FE students that they've got there and also the degree students, the first year of the degree, just teaching vocal technique and also performance skills, that sort of thing. And here's my cat, everybody. She always gets involved in everything. And that is how it is when you're at home. So that was so helpful because like I said, I just had no work, and although I was really trying to get some of this kind of session stuff up and running, it wasn't instant, and obviously a lot of people were doing the same thing. I did actually, it was really random, so some of the session stuff that I ended up doing, I ended up doing a top line for a drum and bass producer that then ended up getting released on quite a big drum and bass label at the end of last year. And I just, it was just all so weird. Like I'd be teaching one day and then I'd be out on my daily walk and I had this music and I was trying to come up with something, and I was just like using the inspiration of nature, which I'm finding quite, useful at the moment. And it was sort of interesting to listen to that track again at the end when it came out, and having written it sort of March, April time, and just look back and just be like, it was so where I was at the time. Like it's quite a positive message basically, but just so many things. But the teachings helped me to feel like I'm helping other people as well and feel connected. And I make it my mission every lesson to try and make them smile, because I know it's so hard for everybody. And we can't ignore it, can we, essentially?
No. That's awesome. Okay, so thinking about the near future, what do you think?
It's changing all the time, it feels. Oh, you've gone.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, you're still there. It's changing. Yeah, it's changing all the time. I think that musicians won't allow music to not exist. But I think that we need a lot more support than we're getting. And I think whilst there's a lot of things that need attention, definitely the arts in general needs more government backing and support to allow it to continue in a way that is, sustainable. Because it's the thing that right now everybody is finding comfort in. People are watching sort of Netflix, or they're watching theatre streams or live gig streams, or they're listening to podcasts or music, or they're absorbing in it. It's helping them, and there's a very big need for it to continue. So it will. It's just how.
Absolutely, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And so the next question I want to ask is, what advice would you give? You're teaching the up and coming ones. What advice would you give to anyone who's thinking of a career in music in some way, shape, or form? What would you say to them?
I think what I had been saying to my students straight away when this happened is like, you're learning how to do this at the moment, but there are actual artists and bands and your favorite ones that at the moment are just at home going, right, we need to make this work still. And so it was like sort of saying to them, it's a life lesson, and it's the truth of life, really, that anything can happen. And this is, one of those extreme scenarios where we're having to adapt and things. So I've always believed and sort of practiced being versatile, being proactive, and just learning as much as you can all the time, just being really as open as you can be, trying not to allow ego and the things that kind of get in the way of how you conduct yourself and work in situations, and just keep learning, because that does, I mean, the way that I feel that I've had all the opportunities that have happened to me is just literally through keeping connections with people and genuine connections. I think that's the underlying thing for me, is you need to be genuine. And so it's all well and good being proactive and all the other things I just mentioned, but if in those interactions you're not being yourself, you're not being genuine, you're not sort of learning and being open to listening to other people, that doesn't necessarily result in a sort of a sustainable thing where you get sort of connections that come back up, and opportunities and experiences that arise again from that. So I think authenticity I do genuinely believe in, but just learning from this scenario and just trying to obviously tech is a big thing now, isn't it? So even more so in this pandemic, getting to grips with lots of different things that will help you once things are a bit more normal, and we are back to being able to perform in some capacity. I think there will be a lot more live streaming. So yeah, just getting ahead of the game if you can on that.
Okay, talking about live streaming, have you taken your activity more online? When I say your activity, sorry, that's the wrong way of putting it. Obviously, everything's going online now because of what restrictions we're under. But have you focused your output online in a particular way?
Not well, I guess really for me, I decided with the writing that I was doing that if I was ever going to do an album, that I needed to just do it. So the output I've been outputting, for want of a better word, is I put together a crowdfunder basically, and then I've just been sort of, contacting people and plugging that, really talking about trying to raise enough money to record the album. But I've done a few live streams. We did one right at the start of lockdown with just 3, like kind of April time, when we were allowed to see each other, in gardens and stuff. So we did that, and that was just so enjoyable. And there is a need for that, obviously. So yeah, I think output wise, it's just been sort of the odd live stream thing. I'm doing one this Sunday, actually.
Good. I'm glad you pointed that out. I was going to ask you anyway to
Oh yeah,
plug.
because it was just a chance to sort of I put a playlist together of like some of my favorite melodies, and all of this stuff is for other people as well, as much as it is for me. It's like, this makes me happy, I hope this maybe does the same for you. So I put together a playlist of melodies that I love, and I'm just going to use Sunday on Valentine's Day as an opportunity to sing some of my own stuff, which will be on the album, but also sing some of my favorite tracks, just that I love. There's just so many beautiful melodies, and I was practicing last weekend, and I'm fortunate enough to have Sean, my boyfriend, who plays guitar. So we were able to rehearse, and it was just, I was just smiling. I was listening back to some recordings to kind of practice this morning, and it's just like, yes, I love music. So yeah.
So let me put this in the comments. When is your performance going to be put out on Sunday?
Sunday at 7 p.m. and it will be via my Facebook and hopefully also my Instagram. So if you don't know me already and you want to check that out, it's Michaela Music UK, both on Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, 7 p.m. Sunday 14th. I did ask people for requests. I've got some which I'm going to do, but I said for them in advance, you see, so Sean and I could actually learn them. So maybe last minute people are going to ask me for all sorts of stuff I don't know, and might have to do a few a cappella moments, but we'll see.
Love songs make up the bulk of popular contemporary music, so yeah. I'm sure you'll be fine with any request. I'm sure you know most of them anyway.
Hopefully, yeah.
So in terms of your general music and output, is Michaela Music UK, is that your website?
Yeah, so www.michaelamusicuk.com, and the reason for that is because nobody can spell or say my surname, Fedeczko. So that's kind of a way of me being able to be found, because nobody can type it into Google. So yeah, michaelamusicuk.com for my website, and then if you type in Michaela Music UK just into Google, you'll probably get Instagram, Facebook. I'm on YouTube, and I'm on all the streaming platforms as well, because I released a single in the end of 2017. So that's the debut single. And then I took a huge, I released one other single after that. And then I've taken this huge gap, which now, this time has allowed me to continue to write and just, give myself a kick up the bum.
Excellent. Right. So the last question is just a strange thing to consider, but I want to end on a humorous note, hopefully. Okay. If 2020 was a human being, what would you say to him or her?
You're a bit of a mess, aren't you? You are. Let's just face it. But I'll help you. Let's just work it out. Let's just take it a little bit at a time. Maybe don't wear that top. Maybe your hair, it needs a little. And to be honest, if it, coming from me, it would be, I think we just need a bit more green, because
Yes.
I love green so much, and it makes me happy. So I'd be like, look, I think we just go with a green outfit for this, and we'll just be fine, we'll work it out. Is that the right answer?
That's an excellent answer. And I've had so many varied answers to the questions of all the people I've asked that question.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I can imagine.
So well done. And talking
Thank
about
you.
green, you have experienced, well, we've all experienced a little bit more green in spending time in nature during that time.
Yeah.
And dare I say, it looks like this year as well, but we don't know. We won't go there.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we finish, is there anything else you want to share with us in terms of your outlook, your music, etc.?
I think if anyone happens to be in a position where they'd like to support artists that are maybe not so fortunate to have lots of work right now, like I have a crowdfunder, as I mentioned, so if anyone does want to check it out, I've left it open till the end of February, and I've had such a positive response already, but it's not quite at the target yet. So if anyone does want to grab a reward, there's obviously the CDs, and there's singing lessons, there's all sorts of things I've put on there that people can donate and get a reward of, and it's on my website. So go www.michaelamusicuk.com/crowdfunding.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you very much, Michaela.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
I hope that's okay, and I hope that we will see you again in the future, where we'll have more to talk about with regard to what you're doing musically, etc. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Okay.